Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton and today I'm joined by Brendon, Geoffrion, the man behind the Vanderpump Rules story.
The story that never ends. I think I said that last time too.
I mean, it never ends.
They keep giving us stuff.
I know. So we're going to talk about Vanderpump Rules, which is back shooting. We're going to talk about Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. This fight may actually happen, and it may actually happen in the Colosseum in Rome.
Crazy.
And finally, we're going to talk about that viral story. A lady in Thailand got her leg severed by like one of those
elevators.
It's like an elevator.
An escalator.
It's like an escalator that like moves along the ground. Travelator, I think they're called.
Either way, it was very painful for her.
I'm sure it was painful either way. Off the top, though, Vanderpump Rules is back shooting. Tell me what you know. Who's shooting? What are they doing? Tell me everything.
So they started filming on Wednesday, officially filming on Wednesday. We know that Ariana and Katie were filming, but it was kind of interesting. You know, the Paps were getting all these pictures of other cast members filming, and we were like, well, there's two people missing. We haven't seen pictures of Tom, and we haven't seen pictures of Raquel filming yet, right?
Strange.
We've confirmed that Raquel is still in this mental health facility. The new development, though, that we know is that she's actually currently negotiating with Bravo for a return. We understand from sources that she's actually going to get out of this facility soon. I kind of feel like it's going to be like within the next couple of weeks, truthfully.
Okay.
The way from the person that I spoke to, that's kind of the sense I got. So she's in negotiations. They're very early stages, right? They only started negotiating with Raquel this week because they knew the rest of the cast was, you know, obviously ready to film. So they got their deals out of the way. And then they said, once those are done, we'll focus on Raquel because they knew she's going to be in this facility for X amount of more weeks or a month or whatever it actually is. But we were told soon. So they're a majority of them are filming. We know Tom Sandoval signed a contract and is ready to return filming, but we just learned late yesterday, that he's actually filming. He's been in New Zealand filming another show for Fox.
Right.
And you watched the show, right?
Yeah, it's like that special forces show. It's called World's Toughest Test, where basically they try to break you physically and mentally, but mental is a big part of it too. They try to like make you cry. Push you to your absolute limits. I like the show. I've watched it. You know, there's an Australian version. There's a UK version. I love watching it because it's kind of the opposite of something I'd want to do. They're the sort of like.
It sounds like a good show for Tom Sandoval, though.
And so they're going to try to break Tom Sandoval. I think he's the perfect candidate for it. Now on Raquel, is it problematic that they are trying to negotiate with someone who's in a mental health facility because of something that happened on their show? Yeah,
we've talked to multiple people close to her, people close to the show, and everyone is on the same page in the sense that they know her mental health is the number one priority, right? So they're not going to rush her to come back. Obviously, the production wants to have her back. I mean, she is the centerpiece to the drama and the Sandoval. But I mean, I spoke to someone yesterday very close to the show who told me, listen, I mean, just so you know, they started filming Wednesday. I was told tentatively right now they're supposed to film until at least around the first week of September. So they have time. They have 4 months?
Right.
I was told by someone yesterday, even if Raquel came back in the last month, they would still be fine with that.
But how can you shoot, you know, this week not knowing if she's going to show up? Like, how do you like make those scenes make sense when are you talking about Raquel? Are you talking like how do you?
They're definitely talking about her, and I you know, and Harvey and I kind of talked about this yesterday in the sense that, you know, how do you shoot a show without essentially the star of the show? Because everyone wants to hear from her. But I think there's ways to do it, and like from a producing standpoint, it's almost like, okay, great. People are going to watch the show. You know they're going to watch the show. If they have to wait 8 episodes to see Raquel, they're still going to watch the show.
Right. But
so even if they're watching James and Lisa and other cast members talk about the Sandoval, it's kind of also exciting because you get the build up to, okay, maybe next episode we're going to get Tom and Raquel.
But you need that payoff.
But you need Raquel.
You need Raquel. And so she hasn't signed on the dotted line yet.
No.
I have never heard of anyone in reality TV show history needing to go to a mental health institution, retreat, facility, whatever it is. I have never heard of anyone being that affected by something that happened, on air, off camera too, but on air. So for them to sort of like, slowly sort of cajole her to sign again because they need her. If anything bad was ever to happen to her because of this show, with them having sort of like really strongly encouraged her, like, no, come back, please, please, please. Even though she's been suffering for so long, they'd be in big trouble, wouldn't they?
Bravo. Yeah, I mean, they'd be responsible, I would assume.
So that's got to be a concern, the legal side, the moral side.
Right. So they're not going to pressure her. Again, I've spoken to people on the production at the network, and they're all kind of on board with Raquel's team. And Raquel wants to come back, and she said that to Andy.
Okay.
During that reunion when they did the one-on-one interview.
So why is she still at the retreat, the thing then? I don't know. Do we even know where she's at?
We don't know where she's at. And, I've asked people close to her, what exactly, because I'm curious what exactly she's doing at this retreat, right? Is she getting, I'm sure there's some kind of counseling therapy component, but is it similar to the places that have been reported? Because, obviously, like a few months ago when she first entered, there's all these rumors that she was more so at like a spa.
Yeah, she's not at Club Med, or is she?
Like a 5-star spa that was, almost like a hotel. But, those do exist and people do go to them to clear their head and stuff. I don't know. I wonder, I don't know factually, I wonder, though, if there was more, if she had more trauma, like past trauma, from even before Sandoval, and she's just working on everything.
So Bravo's like, that's not on us. That's not on us.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. But, the person that we spoke to yesterday was very adamant that it's coming soon where she'll get out. I'm sure we'll hear from her in some way, whether it's through an interview.
Look, she got on the show she worked her way on the show in the first place.
She wanted that show bad.
She wanted to be famous. And now she is. I would be surprised if she didn't capitalize as much as she can on this situation, unless she's really sort of sick.
I think we were talking about this in the newsroom the other day. I think that, we went through like several months now where it was, oh my God, obviously feeling really bad for Ariana. It's horrible that anyone gets cheated on, right?
Right.
But also, like, from the Tom and Raquel standpoint, like, they've received so much hate, especially online, social media. People just coming for them. It's like brutal, relentless. At what point does the tide start to turn and like Raquel and Sandoval can start capitalizing on the scandal too? Ariana's been capitalizing on it, right? She came out, she said she made over $200,000 something just on merchandise for the sandwich shop that her and Katie are going to open up. God knows how much money she's made. She's done a Bic Razor commercial. She did the Lay's potato chip commercial. Those are major brands.
Right.
They have to be paying her a good chunk of money for these spots. So, at what point is the tide going to start turning for Tom and Raquel? There's going to be people that are going to want them to be the face of a product or something, as crazy as it sounds, and they will obviously probably get backlash, from the Ariana supporters. But maybe the tide is turning now. Look, we see Tom doing this other show.
Exactly. Tom's capitalizing on it.
A
Raquel
smart
just
move by
yet.
Fox. So I don't know. I think when Raquel comes out, I think there will be people that will approach her for podcast, a book deal, but like not a book writing necessarily just about the scandal. I think Raquel could lean into, how to, what I went through in like one of those like life journey kind of experiences.
Or get her own show. She could be the Bachelorette when Tom breaks up with her.
Hey, listen, if you're a producer and you're smart, you go for Raquel next.
Okay, on to our next story. This is just the most perplexing. I just don't get this story at all. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, I guess the fight is on. Everyone's saying the fight is on. Now it appears that it might be on at the Colosseum in Rome. The Minister of Culture reached out to Mark Zuckerberg, who basically said, we're interested in holding the fight here. Zuckerberg passed it on to Dana White in the UFC, who then got back in touch with the minister in Rome. Elon Musk is tweeting about it, saying, the Colosseum wants us. Is this really is this really where we are? This seems like such a fictional type story.
It's crazy to me because the Colosseum is such a historic landmark.
One
that
of the
I'm
seven wonders of the world.
Right. And so I'm just like, I mean, if you're government officials over there, this is great for them in the sense of like for the tourism board, right?
It's a good ad.
You're going to bring
least.
a draw to their area, but I don't know how they can do it because I just like, isn't there like some kind of like a historical, I mean, I know you can tour it and stuff, but if you think about it, they would have to build a stage.
Yeah.
You're going to be bringing in all of these patrons that are going to be watching the fight. However, I know Dana White, isn't he like really, the big thing with him is the paid-per-view. Is that what they call it? I'm so bad with these things.
Yeah, pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view,
you'd
right.
Make your money back. You make your money
is
back.
it going to be more of they're going to just more have it like the direct people that are involved in the fight not really have
No, because you need the spectacle.
A crowd?
You need the crowd because you're having it at the Colosseum for the spectacle. The Colosseum is where people sort of ripped each other's heads off and like, you know, isn't it where like lions ate men and like I've seen the movie Gladiator. I've seen what happened there, but maybe.
A lot's happened. I mean, the Lizzie McGuire movie was filmed there. That's the last time I can think of it.
That's not what I was thinking about. That is not what. Brendon, would you be one of the if you live back in sort of the Colosseum was made in Jesus' days, like in the early ADs? Would you be one of those guys like kill him in the stands?
I mean, I don't know if I would even go, but I don't know.
You'd be like, rip his arms off.
Yeah, I mean,
eat his heart. Would you be one of those guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure.
Interesting.
But I think it's weird. I mean, they usually do these fights in Vegas, right?
Well, that's the alternative
for the most part. But like now we're gonna go to the Colosseum.
Well, apparently also Vegas and America has all of these laws like sanctioning different. There's such a different weight class. Elon is so much bigger than Mark that it's kind of hard to get the deal done. It'd be easier to get the deal done if it happened in Italy rather than, you know, in Vegas.
What is crazy to me is one, the Colosseum concept, but two, Elon and Mark, I mean, like, these are two of the richest men in the world. And I would never, Elon makes sense to me. Mark Zuckerberg, when I think of Mark Zuckerberg, I think of like this like nerdy guy. Never in a million years would I think of him wanting to be a part of a fight at a Colosseum.
Maybe we've just proved that the fight's a good idea because I can't believe that Elon would want to do it. Because Mark Zuckerberg, yes, he's scrawnier, but he is a martial artist. Like, he knows jiu-jitsu really well. Elon never works out. He's a bigger guy. He's an older guy. I just think that, like, Elon Musk is getting into this fight like he got into the Twitter deal in terms of he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's messing with something he doesn't know. He'd get his ass beat by
I'm
Mark
surprised
Zuckerberg.
Elon has the time to do this. I mean, he's running running Twitter up in San Francisco.
SpaceX, you know, he got so many Tesla. He's got so many. I don't know where he finds the time. Anyway,
it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I'm curious.
I'm
curious, like if the government officials there are gonna like gauge now, like what the reaction is. Like, are people there gonna, you know, are locals gonna be opposed to it?
I'm with you.
Again, it's money for them. It's gonna bring in a lot of money.
I'm with you that this is a good ad, whether or not the fight takes place in the Colosseum. Me and you are talking about the Colosseum on the TMZ podcast, and God knows that's where people get their travel advice from. So it's good for tourism anyway, because I looked at videos of the Colosseum. Oh, it's pretty cool there.
It's a really cool space.
It's a good ad anyway, so good on them for like reaching out and starting this.
Stay tuned to see what happens.
On to our last story. A story's gone viral because a lady in Bangkok who was running for her flight at a Thailand airport, she was going through one of those like horizontal escalators, the travelators they're called. It's like a walking. They're fun. I like doing them to the airport. Well, she apparently kind of tripped over her bag and got lodged in the escalator itself. One of the plates looks like it was kind of broken where the sort of like the conveyor belt goes in. So she got her leg got sucked into there and it got severed off. And she's trying to get it, you know.
Makes me not want to take one of these again.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they are really fun.
I saw a woman once get sucked into like an actual escalator, but this is obviously like a walking thing. So when I first saw that, I'm like trying to figure out how this even happened. Like an escalator made sense because the woman was in front of me and her clothes got caught and started like not sucking her and it shut off. But this is a whole different level. And what's weird in this situation is the authorities haven't like fully explained how it all went down. It's a little bit murky.
It is very murky. You know what I find murky about it? The photos they released, there's not a drop of blood anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, this woman got her leg got severed. Her suitcase, the escalator, like nothing's got any. I was like, that's just, they cleaned up in this middle of this like tragedy.
If I'm her though, I would already have a lawyer because I'm assuming she's gonna.
Well, they said, look, we're going to pay for all your medical bills. Great. But, if the escalator's at fault.
She had to get her leg amputated.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Like, I've
I'd
been
be
to this
suing.
airport. I've been to this airport in Bangkok, which makes me relate to this story. Also, I work at an airport every day. I work at LAX trying to find celebrities to interview.
I think you should stop. If you take these, don't get on them anymore.
Well, I stand next to escalators all day, and the amount of escalator
accidents
that happen, it all day escalator accidents. You wouldn't know it unless you just stand by an escalator all day. But the number one thing is people dropping their bags, like their bags falling, and then like almost like a bowling ball hitting someone on the way down. I see that all the time. Also, old people, but also young people. Old people falling backwards on escalators happens all the time.
I have never seen, but I've always wondered because you know how like at the edge they're spiky kind of?
Yes.
Imagine how painful that is. Do they scream when you see it?
Oh yeah, and there's blood and that sort of stuff. But the first thing, and not to call myself a hero, but I spring into action because I'm so used to it happening, and I press that button. Like the first thing I do is press that button. Like stop
that
the
emergency button.
That emergency button is because people don't really think of that. People just run to rescue the person, but the button is the first thing.
Got to stop it first,
so you don't get sucked into these things.
God, maybe Elon Musk can invent something new where we don't even have to think about these kind of.
He's busy, bro. He's busy training.
Again, though, it's like weird. Like you think of how many of these you take, and I guess like just because of the fact that it's flat, I don't know. And now she's had her whole leg amputated.
I love those flat things. It's so fun to walk backwards on them.
They're fun because when you get on them, they're already moving. So then if you're walking at like even a faster rate of speed, like you feel like
a legend.
you're on. Yeah,
you feel like a legend.
It's fun. You feel like you're like on like the treadmill when they film the commercials, and they make it seem like they're actually out running.
Yes.
But they're really in front of a green screen and they're like running on like a treadmill or
It's
something.
It's
like
boost.
One of those. Yeah.
You flying anywhere for July 4th?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So
I'll
no
be here.
escalator. No escalator hijinks.
Nope. But after this, I think I'm gonna walk around them.
Okay.
Take them.
Take the stairs.
Yeah.
All right, Brendon. Have a good long weekend.
Have
mate.
a good weekend.
You too, mate. All right, guys. We'll see you guys all back here on July 5th. Have a good July 4th, everyone.